As a traveler, I've spent decades wandering Europe's cobblestone lanes, marveling at its art and connecting with its people. Over the years, I've noticed a quiet but profound change. Christianity, the force that shaped this continent for nearly 2 millennia, is slowly fading from public life. This isn't a sudden revolution, but a gentle retreat, like a tide going out, leaving behind a new landscape. We stand in awe before cathedrals, yet are surrounded by tourists, not worshippers. Through travel, we'll explore how Europe is moving from a shared Christian heritage to a more secular, diverse future. Our goal isn't to judge, but to observe and understand this transformation. Join me as we wander through an evolving continent, discovering what's lost, what remains, and what's emerging. Whenever I arrive in a new European town, my first instinct is to seek out the main church, the historic heart and soul of the community. These grand cathedrals and humble chapels once stood at the very center of daily life, their bells marking the rhythm of the town, their spires visible from every corner. They are more than just buildings. They are silent witnesses to centuries of faith, celebration, and sorrow. Today, when I step inside, I'm greeted not by the hum of a congregation, but by the soft echo of footsteps on ancient stone. The air is thick with history, but the voices of prayer and song have faded, replaced by the quiet curiosity of visitors from around the world. The pews, polished smooth by generations of worshippers, now sit mostly empty. Here and there, a few elderly locals bow their heads in silent devotion, while scattered tourists pause to rest or marvel at the architecture. The sense of community that once filled these halls has thinned to a whisper. This scene repeats itself across the continent. From bustling capitals to sleepy villages, the churches endure, majestic and immovable. Yet the vibrant communities that once animated them have dwindled, leaving behind only traces of their former life. In countries that were once overwhelmingly Christian, weekly church attendance has plummeted. Services that once overflowed with families and children now draw only a handful of the faithful, scattered across vast ornate spaces. The church is no longer the center of social or moral life. Sunday mornings, once reserved for worship, are now filled with the bustle of markets, the laughter of children playing sports, and families enjoying leisure time. The rituals that shape generations have given way to new rhythms and priorities. As travelers, we come to admire these magnificent structures. The soaring arches, the stained glass windows, the intricate carvings. We marvel at their beauty. Yet we cannot help but notice the quiet retreat of the faith that built them. We are, in many ways, tourists in a fading world. We walk through these beautiful hollow shells of a belief system that once defined European life, feeling both awe and a subtle sense of loss. The silence in these churches is not just an absence of noise, it's the sound of a cultural era coming to a close. Dust gathers where choirs once sang, and the air is heavy with memories of a time when faith was woven into every aspect of existence. The story of Europe's changing soul is written in empty benches and quiet sanctuaries, in the sunlight streaming through stained glass onto silent floors. These churches remain, steadfast and beautiful, holding the echoes of a world that is slowly slipping into history. Europe's cathedrals, Notre Dame, St. Peter-esque Cologne, were built to inspire awe and devotion. Once alive with incense and prayer, they now welcome more tourists than worshippers. Ticket booths, audio guides and gift shops have replaced collection plates and confessionals. These buildings have become museums of their own history, celebrated for art and architecture rather than faith. Preservation relies on tourism, but something is lost. The sacred becomes secular. Visitors marvel at stained glass and soaring ceilings as artistic achievements, not spiritual symbols. The cathedrals still stand, but their soul has shifted. They are now classrooms of history, galleries of art, and monuments to a faith that for many belongs to the past. The transformation is both practical and poignant. For centuries, church bells set the rhythm of European life, calling to prayer, marking time, announcing life's milestones. The church calendar shaped the year, and Sundays were sacred. Today, those rhythms have faded, bells are background noise, and shops are open every day. Life is now organized around work, leisure, and personal schedules, not religious observance. Religious language and references have all but vanished from daily conversation. Morality is framed by human rights and social justice, not church doctrine. The church is no longer the primary authority on how to live a good life. This shift has created a more individualistic, less communal society. The new rhythms are flexible, but the shared bonds of faith have weakened. European holidays like Christmas and Easter once marked the core of Christian life, celebrated with deep religious meaning. Today these holidays are vibrant but largely secular. Christmas is about family, gifts, and markets. Easter is a springtime break filled with chocolate eggs. The sacred has been replaced by the sweet, and profound religious stories have become cultural traditions. The nativity scene shares space with ice rinks and shopping stalls. Easter is more about egg hunts than resurrection. Europe keeps the traditions but has shed much of the doctrine. It's a way to hold on to heritage without subscribing to the beliefs that created it. As a traveler, it's fascinating to see ancient rituals reimagined as local identity and street theater. The holidays endure, but their meaning has shifted. Christianity's decline in Europe is the result of many forces converging over centuries. The Church's entanglement with political power and resistance to progress bred skepticism and anti-clericalism. The Enlightenment and rise of science offered new explanations for life's mysteries, making faith seem less necessary. 2 world wars shattered confidence in religious certainty. Post-war prosperity shifted focus to material comfort and personal fulfillment. Scandals and conservative stances on social issues have alienated many, especially the young. Modern life is busy and full of distractions, leaving little room for religion. All these factors have pushed Christianity from the center to the margins of European life. The result is a continent redefining its spiritual identity. As Christianity wanes, Europe's spiritual landscape is undergoing a profound transformation, becoming more diverse, complex, and fragmented than ever before. Once, church bells marked the rhythm of daily life in towns and cities across the continent. Today, those same spires stand as reminders of a faith that no longer unites the majority. Islam is now a visible and growing presence in many European cities, with mosques and Islamic centers bringing new faith traditions and cultural energy to neighborhoods. The call to prayer mingles with the sounds of city life, reflecting the continent's evolving identity. At the same time, many Europeans describe themselves as spiritual but not religious. They piece together beliefs and practices from a variety of traditions, embracing yoga, mindfulness, meditation, and even modern paganism. For these individuals, spirituality is a personal journey, shaped by curiosity and self-discovery rather than doctrine. Bookstores, wellness retreats, and online communities now cater to this growing quest for personal meaning and inner peace. Workshops, self-help books, and spiritual gatherings offer new ways to explore life's big questions outside traditional religious frameworks. Yet the largest and fastest growing group is the nones, those who claim no religious affiliation at all. For many, religion simply plays no role in their daily lives, and they find community and purpose elsewhere. For these secular Europeans, life is lived without a religious dimension. Their values are shaped by secular humanism, art, culture, and relationships with friends and family. Museums, cafes, and public spaces become the new gathering places. This growing secularity is perhaps the most profound shift of all, reshaping not just personal beliefs but also public life, politics, and culture across the continent. Europe is no longer united by a single faith, but by a mosaic of beliefs, backgrounds, and a dominant secular culture that values diversity and individual freedom. The continent's spiritual future is more personal, more varied, and less communal than ever before. People are forging their own paths, often outside the walls of churches, mosques, or temples. A new era of belief and unbelief has arrived, opening doors to countless possibilities for how Europeans find meaning, connection, and purpose in the modern world. The retreat of Christianity brings both loss and gain. The Church inspired Europe's greatest art and music, and once held communities together through shared rituals and charity. Its decline leaves a void in social cohesion and belonging. Yet the separation of church and state has fostered democracy, tolerance, and individual liberty. Europe is now more inclusive, embracing diverse lifestyles and greater equality. The continent is forging a new identity based on secular values, democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. This new identity is more open, but perhaps more fragile, lacking the deep roots of faith. Europe is navigating uncharted territory, honoring its past while building a different future. As I travel across Europe, the story of its fading faith is ever present. The echoes of a once dominant Christianity linger in every city and village, woven into the architecture, the art, and even the rhythms of daily life. Yet, beneath the surface, a quiet transformation is underway. Cathedrals will stand for centuries, but as monuments to a past faith, not living centers of belief. Their soaring spires and intricate stained glass now inspire awe as historical treasures, rather than as places of worship filled with congregants. These sacred spaces are slowly becoming museums of memory, silent witnesses to a spiritual era that is fading into history. Traditions continue, but with new secular meanings. Festivals that once marked religious milestones are now celebrated as cultural events, bringing communities together in joy and unity, regardless of faith. The rituals remain, but their significance has shifted, reflecting the changing values of a modern, pluralistic society. The future of faith in Europe will be smaller, more personal, and more diverse, a mosaic, not a monolith. Spirituality is finding new forms, shaped by individual journeys and the blending of cultures. In this landscape, belief is no longer dictated by tradition, but chosen freely and often quietly by each person. For travelers, this offers a chance to engage with both the beauty of Christian heritage and the dynamic present. Exploring Europe now means not only marveling at its ancient churches and sacred art, but also witnessing how these spaces are reimagined for new generations. Places of reflection, creativity, and dialogue. We can witness the forging of a new European identity based on secular, humanistic values. The continent is redefining itself, drawing on its rich past while embracing innovation, diversity, and a spirit of inclusion that shapes its future. This journey is filled with nostalgia for lost certainty, but also excitement for newfound freedom and diversity. The old certainties may be gone, but in their place is a vibrant tapestry of new ideas, friendships, and possibilities. Europe is a grand experiment. Can a society thrive without a dominant religious framework? The answer is still unfolding, written in the lives of millions who call this continent home. As we explore its cities, we are witnesses to one of the great cultural shifts in history, a transformation that will shape not only Europe but the world for generations to come.